Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Danielle, the American expat mom of 3 living in Germany. So I came up with this video idea because I realized how much I actually take for granted in my life. I think sometimes we can get so caught up in where we think we should be right now that we just forget how many blessings we already have. I also decided to kind of see my life from like young Danielle's perspective, and I realized that there's quite a lot that I've taken for granted. Things have definitely not always been super easy and super awesome all the time, but I'm definitely really thankful for where I'm at and all of the life experiences I've had so far today. So the first one is one that I definitely noticed first, and this has already happened to me so many times. I kind of come in and out with this one. I had noticed, especially when I was living in Munich, I used to go into town like all the time. Now that I live in the countryside, I haven't actually been to Munich in a long time, especially with like the lockdowns and everything and not really having any clients at the moment. I've just been hanging out in the countryside, which is amazing, but I definitely started taking for granted the fact that I have such a stunning city within like just a subway right away. Every time I go back to Munich and I head to like the main central area, like the Marienplatz, the Odeonsplatz, I definitely always stop and think, wow, this is where I live. This is my life now. So I definitely feel a little bit spoiled having that be my norm when it used to be like my wow, almost pass out, so beautiful moments. Seeing all the historical sites had just become the norm for me. I never want to fully take for granted how amazing it is to have such amazing architecture surrounding me, and I could literally go to such a beautiful city at any time. My next one is I have been lucky enough to be able to be completely submersed in German culture in order to learn the language. I hadn't really realized I was lucky for until recently when I started taking Lingoda courses, which I'll talk more about on this channel. So I've been taking some courses to try to boost my German and my confidence, to start talking more on YouTube in German and just feel more confident in general. And there were people actually on the course learning German for fun. So a lot of people pick a more rare and fun foreign language, and some people have chosen German. And I realized, like, even though it does kind of feel a little bit forced, I think there's a difference between choosing that you want to speak a different language and kind of being forced to. Like, the attitude about learning it kind of shifts. But I honestly think if I wasn't forced to learn another language, I probably never would have. I'm sure there are people who are doing a great job learning it at home without being here in Germany, but I definitely think living here, hearing it on the daily, even if you sometimes aren't completely listening, like your subconscious is totally processing it, it definitely is a huge helping hand. And it's pretty lucky that I'm just here and being forced to do this, because even though it seems really annoying sometimes and I really miss my language, and I'm not so sure that I'm one of those people who really like learns languages like piece of cake. If it wasn't for this experience, I probably wouldn't have done it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and consider myself lucky. And it happens to be one of the, like, I feel like harder, like when it comes to, it depends. Like, I find French really hard to pronounce. I really think Germany takes the crown in terms of having the most complicated grammar and sentence structure. So it's a very hard language to learn. So it's kind of a nice thing. Even if I don't ever feel totally confident in it, I feel like I could always help somebody. Like if I were to go back home or live in an English-speaking country again, I feel like I would be feeling comfortable to say to somebody who's asking for directions in German, hey, do you speak German? Which they probably wouldn't, because all Germans pretty much speak English now. But if I would feel comfortable giving them the directions and then saying, yes, I speak German. I also feel like it's probably a blessing in disguise. You know, at some point I will be applying for jobs, I'm sure, at some point in my life. And I think having that foreign language under my belt is going to be highly beneficial in the future. My next one is I feel blessed enough to learn about different cultures on the regular. It's really fascinating actually how many people really enjoy watching these cultural videos from not just me, but I've noticed like all different kinds of YouTubers. They tend to go pretty well. It really depends on the algorithm and all that stuff, but like I think people are generally like pretty interested in hearing different cultural norms and like people going to other places and then having these culture shock experiences. And I feel really lucky that I'm able to experience that on the norm. I think it's really powerful having your cognitive dissonance challenged on the regular. It will always make you question things and do a double take and realize that there's more than one way to think, more than one way to do things. It leaves you with a really broad range of thinking, which I really enjoy because I'm a deep thinker. It's kind of fun being constantly tested and pushed in terms of what's normal behavior and just realizing like humans can really vary depending on where they come from. Next one, I'm not sure if I even want to admit that I feel like this is a blessing because right now it's July and it's like been like the worst July. If you guys live in Germany, what is seriously going on? Let me know in the comments if it's been this bad all over. I'm pretty sure it has. Let me know, Austria, how it has been for you. I think England even had it pretty bad. It's not been a very summery summer, but we're going to talk about winter and the blessings of winter. If you haven't noticed, I'm not the most patient person in the world. I like to go, go, go. I like change. I get bored very easily. And I mean, I do like to settle down, especially as a mom and I'm getting older, but you know, like I still think I'm much more of a like, let's pack a bag and go to Paris tonight type of person. Winter has really taught me a lot about patience because they're so incredibly long here and very not so enjoyable to me either. I hate the cold. It is a really interesting lesson on you don't have to be blossoming all times of the year. Nature doesn't do that. It's completely unnatural to be doing that. It's a good time to go inward. I feel like as a person I've become more spiritually in touch, and I'm pretty sure these long winters have had something to do with it. As you know, I do suffer seasonal depression. It's been the best this year out of all the years, and it's definitely been a huge learning curve for me because it's just winters like this are just something completely unnatural to a Californian, and you can get this in America. Just go to Chicago or something like that if you're a Californian and you want to experience winter. No problem. This isn't really special to Germany, I guess you could say, or Europe, but Germany does have very, very long winters. Like they're super duper long, and like even when you think they're over, summer could feel like fall, like it has been this July. If there's anything I've needed a lesson on in life, it's patience. So I guess it's been a blessing in disguise as well. So the next one is, I feel like if I were to have stayed in America, well, obviously everything would have been completely different. It's kind of funny imagining what my life would have been like. But I really think that I probably would not have had kids until my late 20s, early 30s. So I wouldn't actually have the kids that I have now. And I think living in Germany definitely made it more of a plausible idea. I don't think that I would have had kids so young in America, especially knowing that life is just generally more expensive in America, especially in California where I came from. Things just would have panned out very differently, that's for sure. So I'm definitely very grateful that I live in a place where I was able to make the decisions, which sometimes, which obviously were the right decisions to make, but sometimes they're hard. It's hard to think about because you had like a totally other vision for your life. So these little kids wouldn't probably be here if we hadn't moved here, and if it wasn't for the fact that there's like awesome parental guidance and kindergeld and things like that. It just makes having especially small kids and knowing that you don't have to go back to work 2 weeks after you've delivered a baby really, really feasible. Next is I love having a whole other world, a whole other culture, drive, ferry, or train, maybe plane right away, but very short plane right away. It's just so amazing knowing that a whole other world is just across the border. It's just like they speak a whole other language there. They have a whole different kind of style of architecture, a whole different style of clothing, a whole different style of how they express themselves, entirely different food, and I am so grateful that I have been able to really take it all in. I feel like it's so great that it's not that far away and we have so much vacation time in Germany that I haven't only been able to go to these places. I mean, there's like so many places that I'd still love to go, but I just find myself really taking one place in by staying multiple days to even weeks to really just take in the place. It's really interesting like how much more you feel on vacation the more foreign you feel. Not to mention how much you learn and just how freaking exciting it is, especially for someone like me who just likes to pack their bags and get up and go and experience something different and who gets bored. Okay, my next one is for the kiddos. I have 3 kids, like I said in the intro if you are new here, and they are being raised bilingual, and I just love that we are able to do that for them. There have been ups and downs with it. I wasn't sure that it was always working, especially with my first daughter, just because she was like the little guinea pig. She was the first one, and it did take her a while and Leia a while to start speaking English. But once they started making visits to my home country and we started visiting England and they started seeing that it was actually something other people used, not just mommy, it started to click. And I'm just so grateful, especially in today's world, because English is just such the international language at the moment. So I hope that they are forever grateful to have that gift and have a bilingual mind. There's so much research that has gone into children with bilingual minds. I think that it's taught them a lot too, because I think that they've grown attached obviously to my family, so they've had to learn some pretty hard things at a very young age. I think it's taught them how much to cherish and value your loved ones, which I think is just such a huge thing to have to come to terms with at such a young age, which is actually very sad. So I'm not sure that it's a pro, but I guess it will help them, because sometimes in life is just a huge lesson of letting go, because things are always changing anyway, and things often feel out of our control. So I'm sure that it will also help them in the long run. Okay, the last one is about my relationship. Now, I don't talk a lot about our relationship online just because I don't know, it's just kind of ours, and I just feel like we have to have something kind of secret. We've thought about making videos about how to make a long distance relationship work. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would be interested in. What I think our relationship has taught me, and what I feel like it can teach the world, is like, you can be so different from each other in every way, shape, and form. Just like all of the things that I've told you about Germany, like typical German traits that kind of drive me a little bit crazy. He has a lot of those traits, but part of me also loves those traits. It really taught me, and what I feel like it could teach everyone else who might be worried about finding the right person, is it's not really going to be about how much you have in common. Of course, it's good to have some things in common, but sometimes it might actually be the least you have in common, the more attracted you are to each other. That's not always the biggest rule. It's not the education that they're getting, the political views necessarily, the differences and the distance. All of these things don't really matter, because if you feel a connection to somebody, the soul connection is what's going to be the driving force of the relationship. It's absolutely crazy, like thinking about all the obstacles that we've had to go through and face in order to even just make our relationship work, and how much time we spent apart, and how much we had to how much we both had to learn about each other, and learn about each other's families, and learn about each other's environments, and how much we've both had to sacrifice in order to make it work. But like I said, if you guys are, I don't know if you believe in soulmates, I kind of do. If you are like really meant to be, it's gonna work out. Not everybody believes in like these connections that you don't have to kind of play games with and, you know, overanalyze what this person's like and if they have enough of this kind of skill and like your perfect man or your perfect woman. You just know when you meet the person, at least in my experience. Even though we have a lot of hardships when it comes to other aspects of our lives and being a bicultural couple, we definitely wouldn't have it any other way. Alright, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did. If you would like to hear about surviving long distance relationships, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Maybe he'll even make a video with me. You know, he's shy and he's super busy right now. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope summer comes back soon. And I'm just sending you all a great big hug, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!